Hey everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Lips Garage. Throughout these next couple of videos, you might see some continuity issues. I was doing the recording as I could, when I could, and I wasn't necessarily recording all my episodes in order. I would hit some on the Fairlane, hit some on my Sport Trac, hit some on the Impala, whatever I had time and money and parts for at the time. So I do apologize if some of these next videos are a little bit choppy or don't flow as well as the other ones do. I found I'm in desperate need of a project manager and a video editor because I have no idea what I'm doing in a lot of this. So I do apologize beforehand. This episode is going to be getting into some upgrades on my Sport Trac. So without further ado, here we go. So the new project is a 2007 Ford Explorer Sport Trac. This is my quote-unquote winter beater. The only thing I've really done to it at this point has been an oil change. It's got the 3-valve 4.6 V8, independent suspension all the way around, 4-wheel drive. Does have leather seats. It's got heated seats. All the features work, cruise control, everything like that. Cup holders are good. It's got the roll down back window, which is cool. It's got the sunroof. So pretty snazzy winter beater. One of the things that it is having an issue with, which is common on these, unfortunately, is there is an issue. I don't know if you can see on the video or not, that it's got a leak out of the driver's side exhaust manifold. So one of my goals is to get that replaced. And then while we're at it, I do have a complete MagnaFlow suspension, MagnaFlow exhaust kit. Get that right. And then down the road, I do have a 4-wheel disc brake kit, which is going to be a factory style. This has got 4-wheel disc brake on it. It is performance, drilled and slotted rotors, got the red anodized or powder coated calipers, so some of it for a little bit of show. The rims are 18-inch. I might be able to snazz these up a little bit, put some different tires on it. I may end up doing something more like a traditional chrome. I do like the solid black paint. I do not believe I'm going to do the full blackout treatment, but I might eliminate some of the badges and whatnot. So some plans, down the road, if I have a means to do so, they do make a pretty aggressive supercharger kit for these, which adds a lot of power. They do have the 4-wheel coilover kit, which adds a lot more handling and suspension. So this one does need a little bit of maintenance, but it's a good fun project that I can build on, hopefully keep around for a while, because I tend to recycle my projects quite a bit. But that's where I'm at on this guy. All right, now the first thing I'm doing is usually the last thing you do. I'm a sticker nut. So we are going to apply the decal. Real technical on this one. Make sure the window's clean. Make sure the window's dry. Now this particular kit did give you just the logo. I'll end up putting that on my toolbox. I do like the character. So kind of get them where you want them. And that sticker right there adds 15 horsepower. Alrighty. All right, so I've got the truck up on the rack. So with the leak that I have, it's really hard to tell about the natural tone of the exhaust. It sounds kind of wicked as it is if it was intentional. It's got a little bit of that kickback, but go ahead and fire it up. So we can hear real bad where this is at. Go ahead and rev it. And most of what I'm hearing is coming from the mid. So I've definitely got some pipe issues there. Coming around the back. So if you're really not able to hear the natural tone of the vehicle, go ahead. So just so I have a good before and after, this is what I'm dealing with now. So once I get that leak toned up and I get the aftermarket exhaust on, we'll take another listen and see how that changed. Okay, so we're up under the vehicle taking a look. I'm thinking from what I was hearing, the main leak may have been actually right here. It may not be the manifold. So I'm just gonna put the exhaust on and see, because I was not getting any indication the manifold was leaking. That's just kind of a common issue on these. So I'm gonna try this first, kind of get representation of what the sound is and see if I need to go any further. So as I'm prepping, we're taking a look. We're gonna unbolt here. We wanna try and save as much of the rubber as we can. So anytime we get into one of these mounts, we're spray a little bit of silicone up in there. And that will help make sure that the rubber comes out. So we take a look, we got one there, one here. Now I have the benefit of having the new kit readily available, so I know where all the hangers are at. If you don't have that, then you're gonna have to search around and make sure you get them all. But once you get them all sprayed, doesn't take a whole lot. Silicone works really well as opposed to just a standard PV blaster. Kind of work the exhaust around, let that stuff work its way into the rubber. And then while I'm working the bolts loose on the exhaust, that should make that real easy to pop back out when we get there. So next step is me popping off the exhaust here, and then I might have to section the pipe in the back and pull it out in pieces. All right, so I got the old exhaust off. I'm taking a look in here. The flange looks in really good shape. I was able to get most of my rubber isolators off. There's one that didn't come off, and I might end up having to change that one. It's a little crunchy when I tried getting it off. Again, I did have to cut the pipe off to get it to fit over the axle. So now the next step is to test fit the new one. All right, moving right along. We've got the new mid pipe up. We've got the hardware on it, and we want to loosely bolt everything together. You don't want to be super tight because you need to be able to make adjustments. If you watch these kind of shows all the time, everybody says that. Trust me, it is an important feature. So we've got our mount up. We want to make sure our mount's kind of loose and able to do what it needs to do. We've got your hardware on. And then you want to make sure, like I said, that you've got some play to be able to adjust it. You want to make sure you're not hitting something on the vehicle, you know, taking into account when you go over bumps or, you know, just regular motion of the engine and the suspension and everything when you're just driving, even if you're not hot dogging. So make sure everything's where it needs to be. And then when you come back to the very back, the most important part is going to be the alignment of the tailpipe. So you want to make sure it's in a good spot. Again, as things bounce, as things twist, you don't want it to hit against the vehicle. You know, anybody who's ever worked on these knows how hot this gets. Plastic bumper, hot metal, that's not good. So you kind of make sure everything is shifted and adjusted, kind of tighten a little bit as you go, tighten a little as you go, and then you can crank everything down. So that'll be my next step. And then when I get done with that, we'll bring it back closer to the ground, we'll fire it up, take a listen, see if we fixed our leak with just that one gasket up front that the previous owner didn't quite repair correctly. If not, then we can take a look at replacing that manifold. All right, so I've got everything in and adjusted. Some good news and some bad news. So the spot up in the middle was a leak, and I've got that part taken care of, but there's still something at the manifold. Go ahead. There's still a leak up there. But having said that, taking care of the one leak, I did get some improvement back here. Go ahead. One more time. So it's got a deep, mellow rumble that I like. But wait for my camera to clear from the exhaust. I am going to have to take care of that manifold. That will end up being on a different episode. Get back up here. So I'm going to get my lubricant. Go ahead, shut it off. I'm going to get my lubricant up and get all these bolts as soaked as I can, because those are going to give me fits getting all back in there. So that is going to have to be in a different episode. Some of the comments I've gotten, my episodes do tend to run a little bit long. I do apologize, but the type of jobs that I'm doing aren't necessarily going to be those quick ones. So I've got that part taken care of for today. Again, as always, I do appreciate you guys viewing in and watching what I do. Got the handiwork of Austin with me again today, and we're going to see what else we can pop out. But that manifold is going to be a little bit bigger job than what I'm going to have today, so I'm going to wrap up for now. Again, thanks for watching.